Today we're at the Museum of the Order of St John in Farringdon in central London. It's a fascinating building and a fascinating museum about a piece of history that's often forgotten, the Order of St John, which was a crusading order and over the years ruled a series of islands. After the Crusades and the loss of Jerusalem and Acre, they moved to Cyprus. They moved around quite a bit and eventually inspired and sort of morphed into the St John's Ambulance of today. And both of these aspects, there's two wings to this museum, both of these aspects are explained in this beautiful old building which was the Gatehouse to their priory in London. Although it's near Farringdon Station, this area is Clerkenwell, and it's a 16th century gatehouse to the priory of Clerkenwell, which was a huge priory on the edge of London, dating back to the 11th century, and once the English headquarters of the Order of St John. It was from here that Hospitaller Knights went out to the Holy Land, Cyprus, Rhodes, Malta, and they served in hospitals treating pilgrims. They fought to defend Christian interests in the Holy Land and the Mediterranean. And it starts here on this side with the rise of the order, the dissolution. And after the dissolution, the building passed through a bunch of different purposes. The Gentleman's Magazine was published here, and Samuel Johnson worked there. From 1701 to 1709, it was the childhood home of William Hogarth, the painter, because his father, Richard Hogarth, opened a coffee shop here known as Hogarth's Coffee Shop that offered Latin lessons as well as coffee. And it was a tavern for number of centuries until 1831 John Frost established a medical hospital here. There's a number of items here from the life of this building as the Gentleman's Magazine. Over here is a fascinating room about the order and how it was founded and how it grew and evolved over the years. It was founded for the Holy Land as a hospitaller order. The order in its first form, and to a degree the one today, traces itself back to the Knights Hospitaller in the Middle Ages. They were the oldest surviving chivalric order, and they were founded in Jerusalem in 1099. And there's a bunch of fascinating coins and finds from the very early days. They founded this hospital. There's some beautiful paintings of the city of Jerusalem and a good explanation of the time in Jerusalem, along with some archaeological finds from there. And at the bottom there's a beautiful model, very old model of the, I believe, Church of the Holy Sepulchre. So in the 12th century, the Knights Hospitaller were busy helping run hospitals and protecting Jerusalem in the Crusades, but they were driven out of Jerusalem and eventually Acre, which was a Crusader city on the edge and fortress on the edge of the Mediterranean in what's now Syria. So they moved off to Colossi Castle in Cyprus, and 1302 to 1310 they ruled that. Then they moved to the island of Rhodes, so 1310 to 1522, and then Malta from 1530 to 1798, and actually St Petersburg from 1799 to 1801. So they were a fairly evolving and pragmatic order in that as history and politics changed, they moved on. And they actually came out of the Cluniac movement, a reformist movement within the Benedictine monastic order. The sort of strength and devotion and charity for the poor, if you've seen our video on the monasteries. It was actually run by Blessed Gerard, who was a lay brother of the Benedictine order, and Pope Paschal II in 1113 actually recognised them as a distinct religious order. They were only militarised in the 1120s and 1130s and hired knights that later became hospitallers. And it has a very good explanation of the history, the very rich and diverse background of the order, and as cabinets for Cyprus and Rhodes and Malta, with some fascinating founds like cannonballs and suits of armour, beautiful old books, paintings, a very good collection of interesting paintings. There's a letter here. It's all very interesting because you don't really get to see much of the crusading orders in history these days. A lot of museums don't really have much content on them. So to see a room full of the history of one of these orders is very interesting. And these beautiful paintings, you can see some of the battles that they fought and some of their notable leaders, or effectively rulers. They ran city-states and island states under the order. Here's a beautiful cannon with good explanation of the piece on the side there. I really like the way this museum covers everything in quite a lot of detail, has some very interesting archaeological finds and paintings, and gives a good description of the history of the order. In the centre you have a map of Europe along with some beautiful pieces from the history of the order, from a chalice and a cross from Mass to these beautiful little pieces of silver work and pottery, all laid out in this one room. I'm not going to run through the whole history of them because it's a complicated history. The knights really were both healthcare and fighting force, and then rulers of their own states, and largely they were fighting for their view of the world and also protecting their position within that. So it's quite a fascinating and often overlooked history, which is told, I think, in a fairly level-handed way. You see these beautiful helmets, and it's the Order of St. John here, and this wonderful silver and gold head over there. Look at this beautiful piece. Really exquisite workmanship. I mean, certainly some wealth within the order, let's say. And then there's good explanation of New City and Hospital and how they built and ran that hospital, along with some gorgeous pottery. It's a bit gaudy, but it really does remind me of the sort of semi-religious pottery that you find in shops in places like Florence, along with some health and treatment related materials. There's a bed warmer down there. And there's good explanation of their time in Rhodes, when they moved on as Lords of Malta. because they left Rhodes as a much more militarised force. They'd fought off and eventually succumbed to attacks by the Barbary pirates and Ottoman corsairs and Sultan Mehmed the Conqueror, who, after he captured Constantinople and defeated Byzantium, made the Knights his priority order. And they eventually were beaten by a force of possibly 200,000 men. They had 7 years displaced from Rhodes before Pope Clement VII, who himself was a knight, reached an agreement with Charles V, the Holy Roman Emperor and King of Spain and Sicily, to provide the knights with permanent quarters in exchange for giving Malta and Gozo and the North African port of Tripoli a perpetual fiefdom. So they moved there and they settled, they grew, they stayed in Malta for the next 268 years, transforming what they called merely a rock of soft sandstone into this flourishing island with mighty defences that you still see today. And with the loss of the Holy Land, they lost a lot of their sponsors and their purpose, and they evolved into an anti-piracy service and their own little kingdom in Malta. But over here we have the Most Venerable Order of St. John, which is a modern reincarnation constituted by Royal Charter in 1888. And here we have this beautiful collection of medals and signs of office, military medals, members' medals and garters, awards that have been given, and they really are beautiful and very well presented. There's a beautiful little model here of the hospital in Jerusalem, and they've continued even to today, because obviously the St. John's ambulance, the order has continued with its original aim of health and helping people and protecting people as much as protecting Christendom, which they morphed into for quite a while. And there's a good explanation of their role around the world. As really we enter the sort of second half, and it's two wings of the museum, and it's very much two wings to the history. There's the hospital, effectively like nurses and doctors, evolving into a military order and eventually their own little kingdoms, and then revitalised as going back to their roots as hospitals and healthcare, and the St. John's ambulance. There's a beautiful collection of old historical items, from little vials of drugs, first aid boxes, showing examples of the first aid training that they put together and delivered. Here is a beautiful old piece. It's when someone's injured and you need to move them around, effectively a stretcher. It's like an ambulance before there were the modern Mercedes that you see zipping around London. It's a hand-drawn cart with a cover to help protect the injured person. Some beautiful old paintings of the first aid volunteers and some of the founders, and some awards and certificates and cups and medals, some uniforms of volunteers. Shows the sort of evolution and change and continuing service of the St. John's ambulance. Really quite interesting, this almost like a medical museum. If you've seen our videos on the Faraday Museum, the Anaesthesia Museum a few weeks ago, and the Fleming Museum, this half of the museum is effectively I'd put it in that same camp as a medical museum. And there's an explanation of the parts of the world where the St John's Ambulance provide their wonderful services, along with fascinating collection of paintings, photographs, memorabilia, items relating to that history of 140 years of delivering and creating healthcare ideas, because they're put together the trainings and the programs, the certification, the provision of healthcare and first aid, and quite fascinating collection. I was in this building quite a while because there's a lot to see in these 2 rooms and a lot to take in, because it's densely packed with information and items that you really don't see very often. So I really enjoyed coming around here, and I definitely recommend a visit to the Museum of the Order of St John, whether you're interested in the Crusader history, the military history, or the St John's Ambulance. And it's a small museum, so it's not one of those where you have to give up the whole day to come. It's also free of charge, which I would say, give a donation, but come along and enjoy a free museum. And they're very helpful staff are on hand to explain the museum and answer any questions you have. And I certainly got a couple of interesting answers to some of the questions I had. So, well worth a little walk around. And if you've ever done a St John's Ambulance training, or you've seen them at an event, it gives a rich and thorough description of their history, their evolution, the services they provide, and really their contribution. It's a very interesting museum, well worth a visit. Thoroughly recommend you come. And I say, if you enjoyed this visit, then please do like and subscribe, because it really does help. It doesn't cost you anything. But next week we'll be at another museum, and it's a very different museum to this, so you'll have to come back to find out which one, and hopefully we'll see you then.